Hello, and welcome back to History Videos for Kids. Today, we are going to be talking about the Transcontinental Railroad. For decades, if a person wanted to travel to California or Oregon, they had to go on a long, tedious trip, either by a steamship that sailed around the coast of South America, or by a stagecoach across the country. This way of travel took a month or more, which was exhausting. So for 7 long, grueling years, 20,000 men toiled laboriously. People from all over the place were working on this long, hard project. Many men from China came and joined the railroad. Finally, in 1869, on May 10th, the last piece of the railroad was being laid into place. 2 railroad officials had the honor of laying the last tie for the railroad. They lay it down in Promontory, Utah, and then placed a gold spike that was fashioned by the railroad company, another gold spike that was mailed from California, and 2 silver spikes that came from Nevada and Arizona. They hammered the 4 special spikes into place with a tiny silver hammer. After this exciting moment, they picked it all up because the fancy tie and spikes were not nearly strong enough to support a train. They sent the tie and the spikes to a museum. Then they placed a more durable tie into place. They attempted to hammer 4 sturdy spikes into it, but they were unable to exactly hit the spike because of their inexperience. So they asked a more experienced man to hammer them into place instead. The amazing railroad changed lives for many people. The once 1 month long trip was now only 5 days long. After the first railroad was made, many railroads started popping up all over the country. Travel would never be the same. Not only was the travel situation much different, but another thing also changed. Before the railroad, cities did not really have a set time. They relied on the sun. People determined that when the sun was at its highest point, it was noon. Because of this, it might be 1 o'clock in one city and 1:10 in another. With timekeeping like this, it was very hard to determine what time you would arrive. An engineer had a great idea. His name was Sir Sanford Fleming, and he thought that we should divide the world into 24 different time zones. Now when you traveled, keeping track of time would be so complicated. If it was a certain time in New York, then it would be the same time in Boston instead of 10 or 15 minutes off. This new way of keeping time was much more efficient. In 1833, on November 18th, states all over the country set their clocks to match their new time zones. In just 10 short years, timekeeping and travel would be forever changed. The once seemingly large world now felt much smaller. You could get anywhere in fairly good time. The United States is becoming more and more modern. Think about how far we have come now. We have smartphones, air travel, heating and cooling systems, and much more. I wonder what the future holds. Well, that wraps up our history lesson on the Transcontinental Railroad. We hope you enjoyed this skit. See you next time.